Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hi everyone, how are you guys? I hope you always stay healthy and happy, okay? And here, my friends, Mohammed, Sonah, Sharif, Nabila, Siti, Aisyah, Imelsa Dwi Veronika, Ummil Khairah, and I, Anggrahita, Niken, Pratiwi, would like to present to you guys about manner of articulation. And here is where our presentation begins. Manner of articulation. This material refers to the nature of the obstruction of pulmonary airflow, necessary to determine the nature and extent of the obstruction of airflow involved in the articulation. And the type of airflow obstruction is known as the manner of articulation. And let's continue. The manner of articulation is particularly defined by four major factors. The first, whether there's vibration of the vocal cords. It talks about voiced and voiceless. The second, whether there's obstruction of the airstream at any point above the glottis. It talks about consonant versus vowel. And the third is about whether the airstream passes through the nasal cavity in addition to the oral cavity. It talks about nasal versus oral. And the last, whether the airstream passes through the middle of the oral cavity or along the side. It talks about non-lateral. Next, do you need some example? Yes. Here we have N, D, and L. And for example, 9, 9, 9, dine, 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 line, line, line. S. The kinds of construction made by the articulators. First, there are two common kinds often occurs in English. The first is plosive and the second is fricative. How about other less common construction? Here there are nasal, affricate, lateral, and approximate. And this will be presented by my friend in the next chapters. And here I would like to present to you about occlusive and plosive. Let's write our ideas about occlusive. Occlusive require a complete closure of the speech canal, not just a restriction. The occlusion is twofold. The first is about the airstream that is halted by a sudden closure in the oral cavity, and the second is about the trapped air is freed by abruptly releasing the closure. And in English, occlusive in English include p, p, m, t, t, and k, ch, and And let's have a look. P. P is voiceless. P or P is a voiceless bilabial stop consonant. How about P or B? It is the counterpart of P. So how to differentiate it? The difference between them, the vocal cords are close to each other and vibrate during the articulation of the. How about M? In the case of M, the nasal cavity is open. M. T. T is a voiceless dental T is a voiceless dental or alveolar stop. And here we have D. D is a voiced dental or alveolar stop. It is like T or T but with vibration of the vocal cords D. How about N? And in the case of N, the nasal cavity opens to the let air pass through it. To let the air pass through it. And K is a voiceless vowel stop. G it's a voiced counterpart like K, same as K but with vibration of the vocal cords. Yes, G have a vibration of the vocal cords. How about ng? The corresponding vowel nasal ng is usually voiced as well. And let's occlusive could be categorized in two major types. The first is stops and the second is plosive. Stops. A stop sound is one in which the flow air is completely blocked only in the oral cavity. How about plosive? Plosive sounds are made by forming a complete obstruction to the flow of air through the mouth and nose. And let's discuss about stop. Stop first, yes. And the second we would like to discuss about plosive. Yes, stop. Stops also include such sounds as like and For instance, moon, 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 or night, night, night. Plus, think, think, think. In addition to the sound ch and ch are also marked by a complete blockage of pulmonary air in the oral cavity. Take the examples: check, 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 or check, check, check. Let's discuss about plosive. English plosive include the sound p, p, t, d, k, j. For example, ping, ping, or pick, 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 or king, king, king. Try to slowly say p by yourself. Like p, p, p. It should be noted that a plosive cannot be prolonged or maintained so that once the air has been released, the sound has escaped. And here the presentation about occlusive and plosive, and the next material would be presented by my friends about the other categories. And thank you.
Fricative. A fricative is a type of consonant that is formed by forcing air through a narrow opening in the oral cavity to create a hissing sound. Usually, air is forced between the throat and the planes of articulation for certain sound. You need to be able to feel the turbulence that the sound creates. It might be to many things a creeping sound as long as your breath latch. This is very different from a plosive sound. This is the labiodental fricative. So next we talk about lateral. Lateral. When alveolar plosive is followed by the lateral, then what happens is that we simply lower the side of the throat to release the compressed air rather than rising and lowering the bed of the throat. If you say the word battle to yourself, you can feel the side of the throat lower to let out the air.
An approximant is a consonant that makes very little obstruction to the airflow. The liquids include the lateral, in that this sound have an indeviable contraction of the airflow, but not one sufficiently obstructive enough to produce a fricative sound. Approximants are never fricative and never completely block the flow of air. English draw on the trill and retroflex types, while Persian employs trill and flap types. In Persian, the R sound becomes flap whenever it appears between two vowels. A flap R is articulate when the blade of the tongue touches the roof of the mouth only once. Many phoneticians use the term vibrant to refer to this and similar consonants. Vibrant consonants involve one or more tapping or flapping vibration of the speech organ under the pressure from the airstream. Part of the tongue makes contact with the palate, most commonly at the alveolar ridge, to the soft palate or lean, or in some languages, the uvula. Okay, next is nasal. A nasal is a consonant in which air escapes only through the nose. You can feel if a sound is a nasal sound or not, placing your hand in front of your mouth and feeling if any air is escaping or not. These are this nasal sound in English. Nasal sounds are considered to belong to the top category along with the plosive and affricates. The tongue makes contact either with the front teeth or with the alveolar ridge directly above them. Is a velar nasal, the configuration of the mouth is very close to that of the corresponding velar stop. With the tongue tip resting against the lower teeth, the back of the tongue makes contact with the soft palate. But as the soft palate is lower to the tongue, movement is more important to the nasal than for the oral sound.
Okay, in this section, I will continue the next topic, and it's about every cat. What is every cat? An affricate is a plosive immediately followed by a fricative in the same place of articulation. The ch in jeep and the j in jeep are the two clear affricates in English. If you think about it, the ch sound is made up from the plosive th and the fricative s sound. Likewise, the j plosive d immediately followed by the fricative s. Or we can simply add that j sound is the combination of th and s, and the j sound is the combination from sound d and s. So, the next topic is voicing, level of vibration. There are two membranes that are hinged together at the back. These membranes are called the vocal cord or the vocal fold. The vocal cord can make a wedge-shaped opening when they are far apart. This opening is called the glottis. The level of vibration of the vocal cord determines whether a sound is voiced or unvoiced. When the vocal cord vibrates, voice sound are produced. When they do not vibrate, voiceless sound result. We can conclude that voice is when we say the vocal cord and there is a vibrate. Meanwhile, the voiceless is when we say the sound they do not vibrate. So the example in English, only a limited number of consonants are voiceless. The example is ch, s, p, k, f, s, t, and are voiceless. All other phonemes are voiced. Here the example of closed glottis and open glottis, you can look the picture. To feel the distinction between voice and voiceless sound is very easy. The first is place your finger and thumb lightly on your throat. Say us to yourself, then say us. You should be able to feel the vibration of the cord when you say us and of, but not when you say us and of.
Forties and Lenis. Forties Forties sounds are those that are made with strong muscular effort originating in the lungs. And how about Lenis? Lenis is the opposite of forties. Forties sounds include t, 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 and k, k, k. And Lenis sounds include t, t, and k, k. To fully understand what is meant by forties and Lenis, we can try to whisper for this example. Big and big. We have big and big. Let's let's say big, 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 big. We can divert it to vibration because the intensity of the burst of air is greater for the forties p for the forties p than for the Lenis p. p. So remember, all the voiceless sounds are 40 sounds. All the first all the voiceless sounds are 40 sounds. And then all the voice sounds are Lenny sounds. Remember this. And the last, we have lip repounding. Another important form of air modification in which the lips are involved is lip rounding. In the prediction of some vowels, the glide uh, and the red latex er, er, er. The lips are rounded so that their shape becomes circular, right? You can try it. Er, er, and then er, er, er. This phenomenon is called lip rounding. It is a useful defining feature in the classification of vowels. That's all enough from me. And the last, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you.